Good everyone, in this video today we have a review on the Ki-83, the last Japanese twin-engine heavy fighter. Well, for now, because obviously we all know it's a freaking meme at this point. And this aircraft comes in at a battle rating of 6.0, rank 4. Now, at first, I didn't really like this aircraft. Now, to some of you that may come as a shock, but hear me out. At first, obviously, stock 30 mils, stock 20 mils, it was a horrible stock grind. The aircraft climbed nicely, don't get me wrong. It's the fact that the guns basically farted on the enemies, and even on my ping, I was struggling to get a good performance out of it. It wasn't till I decided to give it a second chance is when I really started to fall in love with this aircraft. Now, obviously, the aircraft itself is, well, it's an interceptor primarily. However, did I use it against bombers? Not really. The only time that I really used it against bombers when I first started spading it, and this battle that you're going to see today. So the Ki-83, one of these was actually captured by the well, a couple of these. I think there was like 4 of them captured by the Americans. They tested them with obviously American fuel, and they basically blew the doors off anything that America had. And if more of these would have been put into production and seen the light of day in terms of combat, this aircraft would actually have been a problem in my personal opinion. But yeah. Now, those of you eagle-eyed viewers may already see that there's 2 crew listed on this aircraft. However, there's only one that is modelled, and you would be correct. There's only the pilot that is modelled, but there is a second guy in the aircraft. There's actually a navigator set here. Now, this actually surprised me because Bertie Burt told me about this one. This guy's a navigator, and I was thinking, well, he better have a sick bag or something with how hard I'd throw this thing around sometimes. But there is actually a second guy in there. If you actually look at it from a certain angle, obviously in the game, when you're flying the aircraft for real, you will actually see the guy there. He serves no function in game, however. So the Ki-83 is armed with two 30mm Ho 155 cannons with 80 shots per gun, and two 20mm Ho 5s with 160 shots per gun. Not bad. I mean, the endurance in combat is a little low, but not bad at all. I would certainly say there are better ammo loads, just in general. But for me, that isn't too bad. I've certainly had worse. Looking at you, MB157 with your unhistorical armament. In terms of engines, the aircraft is powered by two Mitsubishi HA211 RU 18-cylinder radials, pushing 2,000 horsepower off-wep and 2,202 on-wep. These engines are incredibly powerful and enable this aircraft to climb at ridiculous rates. The only problem is that this aircraft is covered in fuel. There's fuel tanks here, there's fuel tanks in the center, and yeah, this aircraft is highly flammable. If there's one thing you don't want to do in a Ki-83, it's get hit by anything. But luckily I get away with that in this battle. I wasn't so fortunate in some other battles, however. In terms of bot kills, you're gonna have to subtract. I think it was 1. If I remember right, it was 2. 1 or 2. I know it was one of those 2 numbers, but just remember to subtract 2 from the total. Obviously, you may not have the statistics that I do. It's just personal. Like everyone flies their aircraft differently. So remember, subtract 2. That comes up to 6 deaths, one of which I suffered when I gave the aircraft a second chance. But the rest was purely kills. 79 ground forces killed and 1 naval target, which was a landing craft. I saw it there and I just thought, sod it, might as well. And I ended up getting the kill with the little bombs this thing has. Because yes, this aircraft does come with bombs, but they're laughable at best. Obviously, recommended belts, 30mm tracer, 20mm on all set to universal. And the bomb load is limited to just 2 50kg bombs. These are laughable at best, but they're better than nothing, and it makes the aircraft just that little bit more versatile, although you're going to have to be pinpoint accurate with these bombs. We did actually use this thing as a minor base bomber alongside a Kika in one of our matches, but unfortunately, we just we couldn't we couldn't do that. Like we couldn't kill the base, but the Kika managed to half the base. We actually managed to nearly kill the base using our little bombs. So although these bombs don't seem useful on paper, yeah. According to Bertie, though, this aircraft could carry two 250-kilogram bombs. And obviously, we already know the J5N1 can carry a 250 in real life, but in game, we do not have this purpose. But yeah, and if there's one thing I love doing in this sort of aircraft, it's proving in any sort of vehicle, it's proving people wrong. You're gonna see this from two pilots on our team. Well, one of them specifically. Private Agent Roge is the pilot you want to pay attention to. He is squadded up with Olivia XX, and well, I don't know if it's a male or a female. I don't actually know, but I'm just gonna say she messaged me after the game saying, "Cracking pilot, you deserve that. Well done." And it's nice to fly with experienced pilots. So obviously I'm squadded up here with Harry and Bertie. Obviously Bertie's flying the Ki-83 with me, and Harry is flying the Ki-84 Otsu. This is a 26-minute battle. But don't worry, it's not going to be all sunshine and butterflies throughout, because obviously there's always going to be one guy in chat. And Private Agent Roge is one of those kind of guys. He's saying about the Ki-94 having better armor than the Ki-83, and he claims to be some sort of Japanese expert. Now don't get me wrong, this guy's a good player. It's just he did basically nothing for most of the battle. It wasn't till I started kicking ass is when this guy started to get involved and actually lend a hand. Because for the most part, he was just side climbing and chasing a B-29 for the most part. It's not till later on is when he gets into combat and actually gets involved, is when he actually starts to see that I know my shit. I know what I'm doing. And obviously, we was all, Harry and Bertie and me, we were all talking about this guy, saying like, obviously later on you're going to see is where he's going to be a bit of a douche, if I'm brutally honest. And we're just there like, what is this guy's problem? Now, obviously, he was mentioning about bombers in this aircraft. I personally don't advise going after bombers, because the majority of bombers you're going to see are either Tu-2Ss or B-29s, and I really don't want to deal with those. But obviously, you can see that our team is starting to, well, they're not the highest in terms of altitude, and they're actually struggling a little bit in terms of capability. Bertie Burt has just been shot down by a J-21A2. Yes, some guy has failed squadded a prop, and it still killed a Ki-83. That gives you an idea of just how good that prop is. But he's there in chat saying, "Ask me anything if you struggle with the Ki-83." The only trouble I had with this aircraft, though, if I was to be brutally honest, was overheating. This thing overheats like crazy. You've got to watch the temperatures on this aircraft. If you boil your engines, you're going to know about it. But it's actually quite a capable aircraft if you know what you're doing. Didn't get the assist even though I scored a hit on that guy, so that just gives you an idea. Obviously Harry Feet's down there in his Ki-84, obviously Bertie's already dead. And yeah. But obviously we're getting to the point where we're going to start to get obviously pushed down, and we're going to get into what's known in the trade as a furball. And the Ki-83, even though this guy knocks the maneuverability of this aircraft, it's actually quite maneuverable for its size. Only unless you're at low speed. And I just crit that guy's tail control with that burst. Quite lucky if I was to be really honest. And yeah, this aircraft is maneuverable. You just have to make sure you're not going over 450 miles an hour. That way it locks up like a brick. It is a brick. And this is where the chat starts to get a bit annoying, shall we say. Obviously, I need to help the team. Look at our team, and that gives you an idea. This AD4 is obviously trying to kill a teammate, and obviously, I want to back the team up. We don't have a lot of teammates left, and well, I kind of need to help the team out. And in a moment, Private Agent Roach is going to start talking. He's just going to make himself look like an idiot, if I was to be brutally honest. And he's saying that they think the Ki-83 is a turn fighter. I'm not turn fighting anyone. I'm actually taking head-ons with people, dodging out the way, as you should when it comes to head-ons. You don't commit in this aircraft. And I'd just like to point out, Private Agent Roach has actually done nothing this whole game. He's, well, let's just show what he was actually doing this whole time. Side climbing to 25,000 feet to chase this guy in his B-29. Very useful. Very freaking useful when one B-29 can't kill the airfield. Great job. And obviously Bertie's obviously getting ticked off, and I just say to Bertie, just tell him to shut the fuck up, because he's getting on my nerves. There's kill number 3 on that P-47, the LA-9, well there's the LA-9 actually. And that's kill number 4. So, the amount of bollocks they talked, well I say they, more like private talks, because well, Olivia didn't really speak. And I'm there like saying to Bertie, yeah, I just proved them wrong. This thing can do well. Sure enough, it won't outturn everything, I know that for certain. But now it's down to me, Olivia in her N1K1JA, and Private Agent Rouge in his Ki-84 too, which he's played that many games with the exception to have a bit of brains, but clearly not, if I was to be brutally honest. I've never flown the aircraft, so I can't say if the guys are actually good in it, or if it's, like, if the aircraft is good or it's bad. I don't own it. But as you can see, he's ignoring the premium Spitfire to go for the B-29. Right. And you've just tried to criticize me for basically saving this team. Okay. Okay. I see how it is. Now, some of you in the comments may agree with this guy, saying, yeah, you shouldn't have gone down there. Yeah, but our team would have lost. We would have lost this battle if I hadn't done what I did. And that's why I went down low. I nearly burned my engines up. So, that just gives you an idea of how wrong I have to prove people sometimes. Because there's people in War Thunder that think that they are a know-it-all, is the best way to put it. And obviously the aircraft at the time was 3/4 spaded, so it's got pretty much maxed out performance, apart from a couple of other things, and obviously things like gun mods were not done. I had the belts, obviously. Traces in the 30s, Uni in the 20s is what I tended to run. But as you can see, both of them are on this P-51. Obviously now, I'm having to go on the defensive. Now can I just point out, the M1K can outturn the Mustang. The Ki-94, I'm not sure, but it could probably give it a hard time if the pilot knows what he's doing. But they're spraying, they're not hitting the aircraft, they've already done minor damage to the Mustang. And obviously, I've managed to get him behind the Mustang after he's trying to flee, but the Ki-83 can actually catch a Shelby. It's actually quite surprising. This aircraft can dive just as well as a Shelby. And having 2,000 horsepower in each engine means you've got a lot of power behind this aircraft. My shooting's a bit horrendous here, I'll be brutally honest, but I still managed to score a crit on the Mustang eventually, which I think I'm just about to score a crit on him now. And there's the crit. But obviously, Olivia sets it on fire, I immediately break off, and obviously, Private Agent Rouge, that desperate for a kill, tries to steal it. So, that just gives you an idea. And he actually does steal it from Olivia. That's how desperate he is. Not only is he a douche who thinks he's a Mr. Know-It-All, he's a kill stealer as well. Hooray. But at this point, I'm thinking, right, well, I'm gonna go do some farming. I might as well farm a bit, because obviously I'm trying to spade the aircraft. And they don't seem to mind that. Because, well, I'm spading the aircraft, I've done really well, and they want me to fly with them after this, but I said I'm already in a squad, so I'm sorry about that. And at this point, Bertie's actually gone back to the hangar, because I figured, well, Bertie, you go back to the hangar, I'll handle these two. If I need to, I will break out some nasty insults, but actually, they seem to be rather nice once you get on their good side, so there's that. And they stop the criticism now because they actually realise that, yeah, this Joseph 2000 guy actually knows what he's bloody doing. So, good for me. But obviously, if there's one thing the Ki-83 can do reasonably well, it's farming. But, he puts in chat here, doesn't matter, it's overheating, and I'm like, it's not. I know throttle control. That's one thing you need to master with this aircraft, is throttle control. If you're at low altitude, do not let the balls off it. It will overheat like crazy. And that's putting that lightly. The aircraft overheats incredibly quickly. And well, this is just a few ground kills that I got Spade in the aircraft, because, well, I had the opportunity. I thought, might as well. And it's just nice to get a bit of extra RP towards Spade in the aircraft. If I remember rightly, I got 2.5 mods after this, which for a rank 4 aircraft being a prop, that's actually pretty impressive. This was also my third to last Japanese aircraft that I needed a Spade. So, I've only got 2 left. I'm currently, well, obviously, you'll see the J7W eventually, but I'm currently working on the J7W. So, that gives you an idea. I like the aircraft so far. The climb rate's not particularly good, but once you get upgraded, it's not too bad. And I love the guns on it, because we're quad 30mm, and they're high velocity 30mm. They're pretty easy to aim. So at this point, I start making my way back to base. As I said, I'm completely out of ammo. And I was thinking, I was saying to Harry and that, and there goes Private, he can't even land the bloody plane right. But at this point, I've got the bombs on the aircraft, which obviously I'll just show where they are again. I didn't get to use them, unfortunately, because, well, I saw the opportunity to take the ace. I said to him in chat, I don't like B-29s, but I'm willing to risk it for the ace. And, well, the Ki-84 is saying, I'll go first, and I was like, yeah, fuck you're not. That's what I thought in my head anyway. I was like, you fucking not. You've been Mr. Know-It-All, but yet you clearly know fuck all. I want this ace. And if there's one thing the Ki-83 is better at than the Ki-94, it's low altitude interception on web. I shred the B-29 by him for the canopy, or the cockpit I should really say. And, well, that's an ace in a day in the Ki-83. Like I say, incredible aircraft, it's very capable, you just have to watch the throttles and don't get hit, because this thing will burn like a tinderbox. This aircraft has also earned a nickname from me, the rocket ship. Climbs like a rocket, but the second it gets hit, blows up like one. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Ki-83. Excellent aircraft, I would highly recommend giving it a go. But anyway, I'll see you all on the next one.